Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing why I personally believe that a breakout on Bitcoin will be coming in the next 48 hours or so. As you can see, Bitcoin has pretty much completed that ascending triangle pattern that we've been watching for the last 2.5 weeks or so, and a breakout you would expect to be coming relatively shortly. In this video, we're going to be discussing whether or not Bitcoin's about to break out to the upside and start rallying back up to $7,800, which some people have said is going to happen, or if Bitcoin is going to respond to the global crisis that's going on right now and do what every other market is doing and crash. Guys, it is the weekend, but last week the stock market was trending to the downside, and with all of the developments that we've had this weekend, I have a feeling they'll continue to do the same once the week starts once again, and I'm curious to see what Bitcoin's going to do, so we're going to be diving into all of that and more in today's video, and I think you guys are going to get a lot of value out of today's video, so if you do enjoy today's video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. If we get to over 500 likes, I will consider growing the beard out like you guys want me to. I'll do it. Before we dive on into it, guys, I do first want to mention the sale running on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, that being the April 2020 sale. The link for that is in the description down below. If you guys want to learn everything there is to know about cryptocurrency technical analysis and be prepared for the next time that Bitcoin goes on a bull market so that you can make as much money as possible, I highly encourage you checking us out at the link in the description down below. There's over 1,400 students that have joined us. We have a 14-day money-back refund guarantee, and yes, you can pay in Bitcoin. I mean, it even says Bitcoin accepted here. It says it right there. So make sure to check the Academy out in the description down below, guys. I know you're going to get a lot of value out of it if you decide to join us. But one last thing before we dive on into it, make sure you've got yourself a nice steaming hot cup of joe. And now, without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Guys, we've got a great video lined up, and I'm really looking forward to it, so let's go ahead and jump on over to the chart. As you guys will probably know, more or less every single market on planet Earth has been taking a tumble, with one major exception, that being the oil market has actually started to rally quite a bit, which is good, because as you know, black gold is more or less the backbone of our entire economy. Everybody's talking about the airline industry and the restaurant industry. Not many people are talking about the oil producers, because those are very important companies to our economy as well. But one asset that has been faring relatively well during all of this economic uncertainty would, of course, be Bitcoin. And there are many reasons to argue why Bitcoin has fared so well. I believe we've covered many of them in previous videos. To be short, we don't see all of the same economic ties to the rest of the economy like the stock market does, the S&P 500, the SPY ETF built on top of it, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. All these stocks, they're tied to specific companies and their earning reports. And let me not be the first, but probably the millionth person to tell you, pretty much every company's earning reports are down, including this one. Bitcoin doesn't have the same interdependence on our economy as the rest of the markets that we normally follow do. And because of that, it's been able to absorb this shock a lot better, and we're only about 10% down from where we started this whole mess. And I need to bring that up at the beginning of this video, guys, because a lot of people are going to say Bitcoin, just like the rest of the world, is going to crash, it's going to burn, it's going to tank, it's going to fall. But that's not necessarily true. Bitcoin could bounce here. And the reason I have to say that is because we are at the end of a consolidation pattern, and we should be expecting a breakout relatively soon. As you guys can see, the last 3 weeks have seen an uptrend on the bottoms for Bitcoin and a flat level of resistance sitting around $6,850 and change. Well, we have now exhausted our time in this consolidation pattern, and we need to make a breakout. I personally believe, guys, that Bitcoin is actually going to break bullish here. What we do from this point is well and truly up in the air. We could very easily rally, or we could very easily fall. I want to be very clear when I say this. I'm not predicting a massive breakout for Bitcoin. I'm predicting a run maybe to $7,100 to $7,300, and then we make another decision about whether or not we go down. I'm still in the bearish camp for Bitcoin, but we have to look at the facts here. Where has Bitcoin been trading over the last 48 hours? It has been trading against the level of resistance, not against the level of support, which indicates that the bulls are the ones actually driving the market right now. If we look at our volume candles, we can see the volume has well and truly been falling to the downside. That is indicative of a coming breakout. And one thing I don't look at very often, but is relevant here, the Bollinger Bands are also seeing a lot of constriction. Volatility has jumped off the metaphorical cliff for Bitcoin. All of these conditions point to a breakout of some caliber, but of course the question now is, to which direction will we break? Well, it's not just the side of the triangle pattern that Bitcoin has been trading on that leads me to believe that we're going to see a short-term bullish breakout. We're also looking at bullish MACD on the daily chart, and we've also seen bullish convergence on the MACD on the weekly chart. Not something we see very often, and while we're out here on the weekly chart, I ought to point out that the last few candlesticks looked very bearish for Bitcoin, even though they were green. We saw a spinning top right here, and we saw a variation of a hammer right here, neither of those being particularly bullish, but now we've seen a nice, big, hearty green candlestick that is about to close in 8.5 hours from the time of recording this video, which means that this is probably what is going to end up looking like as this week is coming to a conclusion. Bitcoin has bounced off of the 200 weekly simple moving average, and it's also bounced off of the 50 monthly moving average, sitting around the same level at $5,200 and change. Now, while I am not predicting a major bull run in the next month or two, I do think that Bitcoin is going to be in for its own fair share of hardship over the next 2 months as this crisis drags out. But at the same time, I want to be careful of writing off the potential of any kind of bullish breakout just because we are seeing bearish market forces right now. There is a pretty good chance, in my opinion, that Bitcoin does have a small bullish breakout, but the key word there is small. I want to show you something that happened on Ethereum about 2 years ago and give you an idea of where I think we might be heading. About 2 years ago, in April and May of 2018, Ethereum was in a rally, starting down here around 370 United States dollars, moving into a consolidation pattern here and breaking to the upside, rallying all the way to $840 around the beginning of May in 18. But as you can see, that breakout of this consolidation pattern was not to last, as Ethereum would pull back from $840 all the way ultimately down to $70. While I'm not saying that Bitcoin might pull back 92% like Ethereum did, I do want to point out what happened here about Ethereum breaking to the upside, trending to the upside for 3 days, and then having its inflection point at that point, and then trending to the downside, rather than just breaking bearish and moving to the downside immediately. What we have here, guys, is something that I like to call the dissonance of the bulls and the bears, and dissonance of long-term and short-term trends. What I mean by that is that the bulls are looking pretty strong right now, given the fact that Bitcoin is trading against the levels of resistance, as is apparent right here on the hourly chart. But I also need you to remember that the overall sentiment in the market is most certainly bearish. So the bulls seem to be in control, in defiance of the idea that Bitcoin ought to be a little bit more bearish right now because of all of the things going on in our modern world. What that normally leads to, in my experience, is that when the bulls are bullish when they might not ought to be bullish, you will see a bullish breakout, and then a few days later they will exhaust themselves because they're just not as strong as they thought they were, and then the downtrend will start. That would look a little something like this. Bitcoin over the next 48 hours may break to the upside, like I said, between $7,100 to $7,300. We might even rally as far as $7,700 all the way up to this resistance, and then we may see some kind of correction, perhaps not that steep, but some kind of correction to follow. That is just one theory, and there are plenty of directions that Bitcoin could go, but I wanted to outline that one because I don't think many people talk about that kind of bullish then bearish crash following a breakout, although those do happen very, very often, and you need to be looking for them. At the end of the day, guys, here's what matters. The next few months on Bitcoin are going to be rough. The next few months in life are going to be rough. Everything that's going on in the world very soon, for very many of us, is going to get very, very personal. And it's in times like these where we need to be strong of mind, strong of character, and financially strong as well. Now is not a time to be using 100x leverage in your life savings and betting your farm on the success or the failure of Bitcoin or any individual asset. Now, unless you have the disposable income that, as I've said many times, you could light on fire and get rid of it, and you would be fine. Unless you have that kind of money, now is not a time to be taking risks. Now is a time to be conservative. If you are in a position that I, for one, am very fortunate to be in, where I can actually take risks, and I'll be okay if those risks don't pan out, now is a great time to be looking for entry positions for long-term investments. There's a reason I just put nearly $1,000 into altcoins a couple of days ago. It's because I am looking for those long-term swing trades and those long-term investments. I want you guys to be spending this time, this next 2 months, observing the market and learning about the market and detailing every single thing that happens, because this 3-month stretch of history of Bitcoin, I guarantee you, mark my words, I might quote myself here in like 5 years, this stretch of market that we're living through right now is historical timing, and it's very important for Bitcoin. This period of market right now, should Bitcoin become mass adopted, is going to go into textbooks in the future, because we need to be able to understand how Bitcoin is going to respond to major economic uncertainty and major global crises. So far, anyway, Bitcoin has done a pretty good job, and I'm very happy about that. Whether or not Bitcoin continues to do a good job, whether or not Bitcoin continues to rally, is most certainly up for discussion. Now is not the climate for a massive bull run to start. I think that time is coming, though, guys. The halving is next month, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what Bitcoin does in response to that, because after that halving comes, the prediction of the stock-to-flow model goes through the roof, and about a year from now, it's predicting $100,000 Bitcoin. We may see Bitcoin get up there in about 2 to 3 years. No matter what happens happens, guys. Everything's a learning experience. Make sure to treat everything as a learning experience. Nothing is a true waste, because you hopefully will come out the other side of whatever you're doing having learned a valuable lesson that you can apply to future situations that you may find yourself in. But guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. Tell me in the comment section down below what you thought of my analysis. Do you agree that Bitcoin may be about to have some kind of short-term bullish breakout and then a subsequent crash? Or do you believe that Bitcoin's going to just straight up break out and continue a new uptrend? I'm interested in hearing your take on that in the comment section down below. I do read absolutely every single comment, so make sure you tell us what you think in the comment section. And also, before we go though, guys, I do want to remind you of the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy and the wonders it's done for our students. We have over 1,400 students that have gone through CT2A, and many of them are in our free Discord server, linked in the description down below. I would encourage you to go join that Discord server and see what they have to say about the Academy. If you like what they have to say, you can go and click the link in the description down below, and you can watch this video on how to set up and use TradingView completely for free as a preview of the kind of content that you're going to be getting herein. In the introductory section, you're going to get access to 8 videos here that are mostly tailored towards the newer trader, people that have just entered the cryptocurrency space. So if you are one of those people, this is going to be very, very helpful for you. We have our technical indicators portion, so that we have one comprehensive place where I can go in and explain how every single technical indicator that we're going to use in the course works. And then we have the actual meat and potatoes of the course down here in the technical analysis section, where we go over a vast number of technical concepts that you're going to need to know to learn how to do technical analysis and learn how to trade and learn how to be safe in the trading and learn how to be profitable in the trading, all of which are very important things. Guys, I have a folder on my desktop with dozens of testimonies that I've taken of people who have gone through the Academy and they love it and they say that it has helped them become a profitable trader. If you want to learn how to profit in these markets, you need to invest first in your education before investing in some random altcoin. There is no greater investment in this world than an investment in yourself. So go ahead and invest in your education while we have some downtime here. You can work through the course in about a week and ingest all of that content and all of that information and start putting it into practice. And hopefully we'll come out of the other side of this whole quarantine thing. I'll have my Gandalf beard, you'll have all your technical analysis knowledge, and we'll all be singing Kumbaya, sitting around the campfire, hopefully not getting a second wave of the news. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It really helps out the channel when you do that, and I would be very appreciative. I'm going to go and finish my coffee right here so that I can go and have a glorious, glorious day of bouncing off the walls with caffeine-fueled rage. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it out for today's video. Before I go, though, I do first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.